Hello and welcome to this week's Women's Football Chat. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every Thursday at 6 p.m. bringing you the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football in England. That's the FAWNL. All the news, all the results and the fixtures coming up as well. It's currently not quite 7:30 on Thursday morning. Not recording this at the current time because I'm very busy today. So it's actually still dark outside. So I've had to slightly change the setup and all the settings on the camera. So if you start to see things going a bit dodgy with the green screen, if you're watching the video version, that's why. Because normally I record with the light off. I'm having to record with the light on, otherwise you won't see me. And it reflects off the green screen and all the rest of it. Because it's a low budget setup we've got here on the Women's Football Chat. But yes, before we get into it, it's a slightly shorter show because we've got not many results to talk about and not a huge amount of fixtures to same amount of fixtures to talk about, but they're all in one competition pretty much. So let's start with two pieces of news, and this is something that we'll see the effects of later on in the show. The Wyndham Town have unfortunately had to withdraw from the FA Women's National League South East Division. Their statement is as follows. It is with regret we have to announce our women's team has had to withdraw from the FA Women's National League with immediate effect after a number of successful seasons culminating in promotion to the National League. We have come up against a number of issues that we just couldn't overcome. In particular, we lost a number of our players during the summer and recently to other clubs. We've also had two retire and a number of players out with longer term injuries. Despite signing a number of new players this season, we've had to postpone a number of games as we couldn't raise a side. We clearly couldn't continue like this, and as it was unfair to our remaining players and the other teams in the league. So a great deal of regret and sadness we have taken this decision. We'd like to thank all the players, managers, sponsors and fans who over the years have given us unwavering support and loyalty. Finally, as a club, we remain confident in the not too distant future we will once again have a vibrant and flourishing women's setup. And that's from Geoff Garwood, the chairman of Wyndham Town. So Wyndham Town no longer in South East. We're down to 11 teams in South East. The games they did play, the results have been deleted, which means we've seen a slight change in the South East table, which we'll come on to later on. Other big piece of news and another managerial departure this time. The Hounslow manager has gone. This is, of course, Coach Ruddy, as he calls himself on Twitter. And he's gone after just a few weeks, really. So he's been... Remember, he came across to Hounslow. They delayed the start of the season. He says, with regret, I've decided to step down as manager of Hounslow. The last 6-7 weeks have been tough on and off the pitch. The club was less than a few days away from folding, with only one or two players registered before we came in. The fact we have played games this season is a success in itself. We've given debuts to almost 80% of the squad at National League level. As a developmental coach, this makes me proud, but the honesty is the results haven't been anywhere near good enough. No one plays the game to get beaten the way we have been. As far as I'm concerned, the buck lies with me. I'm just as prepared to fail as I am to win, and this one I have to put my hands up and say I was probably out of my depth. Hasn't helped at all that I haven't been able to be in the dugout yet as well. What I can say proudly is we have assembled a great young side together. I hope that they seize this opportunity to play at this level. For me, I have to prioritise my personal and family life at the moment. Management in the women's game is probably done for me. If I come back, it would be in a coaching capacity, but I missed the men's game and missed Sunday grassroots with the kids. Thank you to Martino and Miguel for the opportunity. Wish Hounslow nothing but success going forward. So another managerial departure, but it's one of these things, particularly with Hounslow. It's like, how long do you carry on? Because As we'll see, and I'll go into in a moment when we look at the league table. They've played 5 games, one of them in the cup, and they've scored 2, conceded 41. But yeah, so that is Rudy Ridwan leaving the managerial role at Hounslow, having not been in the dugout for a game this year. Right, let's move on to the results then from the fixtures. So there was a lot of County Cup this week, so the results are kind of thinned down dramatically. Let's have a look at the Northern Premier Division. Now, 3 of these games were on Thursday after I recorded on Thursday lunchtime. So Liverpool Feds 2, AFC Fylde 2 on Thursday. Fylde actually going 2-0 up in this one. Faye McCoy in the 15th minute, Cara Fields in the 84th minute. 2-0 Fylde were leading going into the final 3 minutes of normal time. Paige Cole in the 88th minute, Rosie Kinvig in the 90th minute rescued a point for Liverpool Feds at home to AFC Fylde. Thursday, Forest 4, Loughborough Lightning 1. Forest 4-0 up in this one. Charlotte Greengrass, 22nd minute and 52nd minute. Georgia Hewitt, 67th minute, and Sophie Domingo in the 73rd minute. Loughborough Lightning getting a consolation goal, Chloe Young in the 87th minute with their only goal. And then a great win for Boulmere St Michael's, who won 2-1 away at Stoke City. Goals in this one coming to Lauren De Casto in the 40th minute. Meg Bowyer equalising for Stoke in the first minute of added time at the end of the first half in the 45th plus first. And then an own goal from Stoke in the 77th minute gave Boulmere St Michael's the 2-1 victory. Then just one game on Sunday, the East Midlands Derby, Forest against Derby County. At the City Ground, attendance of just over 5,000, so terrific work there from Forest promoting the game. Goals, 2 for Charlotte Greengrass, 48th and 67th minute. Neve Reynolds in the 58th minute, backing that up, making it 3-0. Derby did get one late on, it's not on the system. It was at the other end of the pitch to me. I was level with the edge of the opposition penalty area as the free kick came in from the right-hand side, but they've been told that it was an own goal, which would match the fact that it's not on the full-time website. What that means then for the Northern Premier Division is that Forest, with their 6-point week, jump back up to 3rd. They're 3 points off the top of the table with a game in hand. That game in hand is against Boulmere St Michael's, but not sure when that's going to be played yet. So Stoke, Huddersfield and Derby all just drop a place, with Forest climbing dramatically back up the table. Right, Southern results. Well, results seems a bit of a stretch. It's Southern results. London Bees 1, Gillingham 2. This was the only game on Sunday. Gillingham in the 9th minute, Madison Shamney-Farrand in the 83rd minute, Georgia Griffin was the goals that gave them the win. Lisa Milliken getting the only goal for London Bees. What it means for the table is that Gillingham have climbed up a place against Plymouth Argyle. So Gillingham are in 10th now, Plymouth Argyle dropped down to 11th, but everything else remains the same. Division 1 North, just one game to tell you about, and that comes from yesterday. York City 1, Leeds United 1. Over 2,000 here for this one as well. Great attendance, particularly on a Wednesday night as well at York City. 1-1 that scoreline. But because it was only played last night, there's no information on full time yet. As I said, I'm having to record this so early on Thursday morning. That they haven't had a chance yet to get it on the system. Fair enough. But a 1-1 result there. What it means for the table is absolutely nothing at all. Leeds United now 2 points clear at the top, but they will see that as an opportunity missed. York City go from 10 points to 11 points, but remain in 6th place. So nobody's moved in the Division 1 North table this week. Division 1 Midlands then. On Thursday there was one game, Lincoln City against Sheffield. Lincoln City coming out 2-0 winners in this one. Both goals coming in the first quarter of the game. Jessica Razu in the 10th minute, Lucy Farrow in the 20th minute. was all the scoring that there was. So Lincoln City getting a valuable 3 points for them. Then at the weekend, Doncaster Rovers Bells 2, Sporting Council 1. Jessica Andrew and Sophie Scargill the goals for Doncaster Rovers Bells. After Sporting Council had scored an early goal, Angel Craig Tapper in the 6th minute with Sporting Council's only goal of the game. And then, of course, we come to kind of almost what feels like the second team of this show is Stourbridge, who have always been really good to me with interviews and interaction with the show on social media. A 10-1 victory, just the 10 goals. It was 6-0 at half time, if memory serves me right. 10 goals to 1, they beat Long Eaton United. We'll do Long Eaton United's goal first. Ella Brennan with their goal. So Stourbridge, 10 goals, 2 hat-tricks in this one. Lindsay Glover, 18, 33 and 43 with her hat-trick. So that's, just under a half-hour hat-trick. Niamh Dempsey can beat that. She got an 8-minute hat-trick coming off the substitutes bench. 76, 79 and 84. Also a brace for Millie Rogers, 6th and 21st minute. And also goals for Sarah Hazel and Esme Moran. So that was just the 10 goals for Stourbridge. What it means for the table is Stourbridge are now 9 points clear at the top, which even at this early point in the season, they've played 9. They've got 24 out of 27 possible points, and they are 9 points clear at the top. Now, to be fair, Doncaster Rovers Bells, who are in second, they're up a couple of places. They're on 15 points. Do have 2 games in hand, so that gap could reduce down to 3 points. It could reduce to 4 points if Solihull Moors win, 5 points if Sporting Cows get their 2 games in hand, because they're all on 7. Solihull Moors and Sporting Cows are in 3rd and 4th, have dropped a place each because Doncaster Rovers Bells won at the weekend and got themselves a couple of places higher. But it's just the way the league table looks at the moment. Points on the board is much better than points in hand, as I've said time and time again on this show. And Stourbridge are 9 points clear at the top of the Division 1 Midlands table. Down towards the bottom, the midfield is all the same. So Leafield Athletic in 5th, down to Leek Town in 8th is all the same. Lincoln City are up a couple of places. They're out of the bottom 2. They're in 9th now after their victory on 7 points. Wem Town in 10th, also on 7 points. And Northampton Town have dropped into the relegation zone on 5 points from their 7 games. Right, Division 1 South East then. Cheshire United 3, Norwich City 2. That was the game at one of the games at the weekend. A brace for Gemma Fraser and one for Emma Delves getting the 3 goals for Cheshire United. Norwich City, Natasha Snelling getting one of theirs. And no information about... Rebecca Russell with the other one of their goals. It's in all the details at the bottom, but not on the graphic at the top. They lost Chardonnay Johnston to a red card in that game as well, making it more difficult for Norwich. But Chesham get the win by 3 goals to 2. And then Ashford Town beat Hounslow by 10 goals to 0, including 6 for Ashley Cheatley. 25th, 28th. 55th, 74th, 80th and 85th minute. A double hat-trick for Ashley Cheatley. Braces for Alyssa Downs, in the 20th and the 35th minute. And Elizabeth O'Callaghan in the 62nd and the 89th minute. A 10-0 victory for Ashford Town. And then on Wednesday, it was Cheshire United's turn to almost hit double digits. Well, their turn to heavily beat Hounslow. They didn't quite get double digits though. A 9-1 victory last night for Cheshire United, who have, the information is not on full time as of yet, but they have put their goal scorers on Twitter. Just bear with me one moment. Hounslow, again, not only scoring 1 goal. They have conceded 19 this week. So it's not great for Hounslow. Right, Chesham's goals: a hat-trick for Gemma Fraser, 2 for Katie Bowers, 1 for Kiana Fryer, Becky Blore and Tasha Smith, and an own goal that apparently Becky Blore is claiming. So 9-1 to Chesham in that one. So what it means for the table is the table looks a bit different, but Chesham United, with their 2 wins, have lifted themselves up into the mid-table. So let's talk about the Division 1 South East table because, as I said, Wyndham Town no longer in the league, which means that their results were deleted. So we've seen some movement because the teams that had played Wyndham and won obviously lost 3 points. So the likes up at the top there, London Seaward, who were in third above AFC Wimbledon, who are now in third, they have dropped down to 4th because they have lost the 3 points they got against Wyndham Town, and their goal difference means they dropped down a place to below Wimbledon. So it's still Hashtag United at the top, but they've lost a win as well. Norwich City 2nd, Wimbledon now 3rd, London Seaward in 4th, Queen's Park Rangers and Cambridge United still 5th and 6th. Ashford Town are up a place to 7th after their big victory over Hounslow. Chesham United, 2 wins this week, have taken them from 0 points because they lost a win against Wyndham, up into 8th place on 6 points. Actonians down a couple of places in 9th on 4. Cambridge City in 10th on 3 points. Hounslow at the bottom in 11th on 0 points and yet to get off the mark this season. Plus, they are now the only team to go down out of Division 1 South East. But, and I was talking about this with some of my colleagues from around the women's football media, is that what is, and this is complete speculation, there's nothing around this, but you know, is it likely that Hounslow complete the season? They're getting beat so heavily every single week. How long do the players, they're now looking for a manager again, how long do the players have a look elsewhere, or just decide that they don't want to spend their Sundays travelling to, let's say, for example, Norwich to have 9 goals put past them? They may be thinking that there are things they would rather spend their Sunday doing than that. If it's kind of clear that they're not going to be competitive. I mean, as was said in the manager's departure speech, it's a case of having handed debuts to 80% of the team at that level, and maybe they just weren't ready for that level. Maybe they'll start gelling, they'll click, and they will be able to get points, and they'll be able to stop themselves from going down. But from the results at the moment, where they've played 5 games, 4 in the league, 1 in the cup, they've scored 2 goals and conceded 41 goals at an average of 8 goals a game. It's not looking good for Hounslow. Right, let's have a look at Division 1 South West. 2 games on Thursday and 1 at the weekend, because we had 1 postponement as well due to County Cup clash. So 2 games on Thursday. Swindon Town 4, Keynsham Town 0. Annabelle Colston in the 18th and the 19th minute put Swindon ahead before the 20-minute mark. Stephanie Bent just after half-time, 48th minute. And Megan Attenborough in the 65th minute finished the game off. Swindon Town 4-0 victors over Keynsham Town. Cardiff City 5, Larkwell Athletic 0. A brace for Emily Poole, 33rd and 69th minute, came after Corey Williams' 14th minute opener. Then 2 goals off the substitutes bench. Ruby Scarhill in the 84th minute and Kerry Bartlett in the 90th minute gave Cardiff a convincing victory. And then one of their tougher games they'll have this season away at AFC Bournemouth, but a 2-1 victory for Cardiff, who were 2-1 up at the break. Emily Poole, 25th minute, Kerry Bartlett, 35th minute. Had them 2-0 up with just 5 minutes to go. Lucy Cooper got one back for Bournemouth in the 86th minute to really put the pressure on. But Cardiff held firm and maintained their 100% record. Maidenhead against Moneyfields postponed because of County Cup, which Maidenhead won. Division 1 South West table then. Cardiff City back to the top. They are on 21 points out of a possible 21. They have a 100% record. They replace Exeter City at the top of the table, and Bournemouth also drop a place from 2nd to 3rd on 19 and 16 points. Only other movement is Swindon Town jumping above Portishead Town in the midfield. That's 7th and 8th swapping over. So Chelsea 4th, Southampton Women's 5th and Moneyfield 6th. Keynsham Town in 9th. Maidenhead United 10th, Larkhall Athletic 11th, and AFC St Austell 12th. Still with 3 teams yet to get off the mark in the Division 1 South West table. Right, let's have a look at the fixtures then. Coming up, we're going to do the league fixtures first. We are going to do the league fixtures first, and we're going to start with 2 games that are tonight. Hull City against Barnsley and Middlesbrough against Norton Stockton Ancients in Division 1 North. So Barnsley in 3rd, Hull City in 7th. Barnsley could, with a win, go back. In fact, with a win, they probably will go back to the top of the Division 1 North table. They're 3 points behind Leeds United, but their goal difference is only 1 worse. So a win will put them at least level on goal difference with Leeds United. Then Middlesbrough against Norton Stockton Ancients is 8th against 9th. They're already, Middlesbrough are 4 points clear of the drop zone. Norton Stockton Ancients 5 points clear. But a win for Norton Stockton Ancients by a few goals could see them climb as high as 4th. 3rd's a bit unrealistic. They'd have to win by kind of 7 goals, but they could win by 4 goals and put themselves 4th above Newcastle United, because there is only, as it stands at the moment, 3 points separating 3rd and 8th, and there's only 5 points separating 2nd and 9th. So it is a very, very tight Division 1 North table. Sorry, the fact that it's like not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. This is I'm not quite fully functioning yet. Right, Northern Premier Division then. So these are all games at the weekend because Tier 3 is not in the FA Cup as of yet. AFC Fylde against Loughborough Lightning is 7th against 12th. Loughborough Lightning, the only team in the Northern Premier Division not to get off the marks so far this season. Bournemouth St Michael's against Liverpool Feds is 11th against 10th. 1 in the relegation zone, 1 out of the relegation zone on goal difference. So that's going to be a crucial game towards the bottom even at this early stage. Burnley, 1 point off the top of the table against West Bromwich Albion. They're down in 8th for West Brom. Derby County host Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, another important fixture that last year might have been quite difficult. But to be honest, after watching the East Midlands derby, I can't see anything other than a Wolves victory this weekend away at Derby County. Huddersfield Town against Stoke City, that is 5th against 4th. They're both trying to get themselves in and amongst it because there is a danger at the moment. Wolves on 19-8 played, Burnley on 18-8 played, Forest on 16-7 played, so they could get to 19 as well. Then there's a 3-point gap to Stoke City, but because Forest have that game in hand on Stoke City, there's already that danger that it could end up being Wolves, Burnley, Forest starting to pull away from everybody else and the title race coming down to just those 3 sides, because we are nearing the halfway point of the season. Not in terms of time, but in terms of games played, because there's so much in the Cup coming up. I was looking at the fixtures earlier, and basically after a couple of weeks' time, we play a couple more league fixtures up to mid-November, but then the league is very sporadic because there's so much Cup going on. So cramming the fixtures in early. So we'll wait to see what happens with that one. Then finally, Nottingham Forest against Brighouse Town. That's 3rd against 9th. Again, it's kind of difficult to see against a win for the top 3 sides this week. Could be surprised, of course. I mean, Bournemouth St Michael's, took points to get away from Stoke City and from Wolverhampton Wanderers as well. So, there's it is possible for the top sides to slip up. Burnley, of course, not lost yet this season. They've just drawn quite a few games. One of those against Forest. So, we'll be interested to see over the course of the week what happens with those fixtures and if that will have, or how much of an impact that will have on the league table. You could see what I'm saying here, though, that if Wolves, Burnley, Forest all win and they go to 22, 21 and 19, if Stoke and Huddersfield draw, for example, you've then got a 5-point gap between the top 3 and everybody else, plus Forest having a game in hand. So that's kind of then a 6-point gap between the top 3 and everybody else. And that really starts to show then that gap does build up. Southern Premier Division table, we'll have a quick look at this before we go into the magic that is the FA Cup. Bridgewater United against Gillingham Town. That's 8th against Gillingham Town. Bridgewater United against Gillingham, 8th against 10th. So Gillingham with a win could see themselves climb, and again, this is how close the Southern Premier Division table is. Gillingham in 10th could, if results were to go their way and they beat Bridgewater by 4 goals, let's say, could go from 10th up to 4th. With just 1 win. Crawley Wasps against Cheltenham Town. Crawley Wasps at the bottom of the table. They will stay bottom of the table even with a victory against Cheltenham Town. But Cheltenham, again, could climb a couple of places with a victory. Ipswich against MK Dons. Ipswich are starting to find their feet again now after struggling right at the start of the season. They're in 4th, and Milton Keynes Dons are down in 9th. London Bees against Watford. Watford top of the table, of course. London Bees in 6th. One of these 4 teams on 10 points. Oxford United against Portsmouth. That's 2nd against 3rd. Both sides there will be looking and hoping that Watford slip up. They could get back to the top of the table if they do. Plymouth Argyle against Billericay Town. Is Plymouth Argyle in 11th and in the relegation zone. Billericay Town in 5th. Again, another one of those teams that are on 10 points. Right, that's the Southern Premier Division. Let's have a look at Division 1. We've had a look at those 2 games that are taking place tonight. Those are the only league games because it is back. The FA Cup is back with the Tier 4 sides entering in the 3rd qualifying round stage. Now, there are 88 ties in this, if I remember correctly. There's 88 ties in this, 166 teams still in the competition. And so the 4th tier sides have entered in 3rd round qualifying. 3rd tier sides don't come in until later in the competition. Obviously, this needs to be trimmed down significantly before then. So these are the teams. Now, I've done my best here. Obviously, the pyramid gets a bit funky the further down the pyramid you go. But I've looked into every single team, tried to work out and look on full time and on all the leagues and with my knowledge of the pyramid, what tier they're in. If you spot any that are wrong, please let me know and I'll correct it for next week's show. But on Friday, so tomorrow, Newcastle Town of the 7th tier take on Stourbridge. And then on Saturday, Swindon Town take on Poulton Rovers of the 6th tier. Other thing to point out as well, just before I go any further, is because this is the show where I focus on the 3rd and 4th tiers, I've only included the fixtures that involve 4th tier sides. So there are another 40 odd fixtures that don't involve 4th tier sides, but I've not included them in this because it would take up A, about 9 screens, and B, it would add about 15 minutes to the show. So I will carry on as I did last year. I will talk about the FA Cup as long as there is a team from the FA Women's National League in it, which last time around was the quarterfinals. So we'll see how far we get this year. Swindon Town against Poulton Rovers on Saturday. Then all on Sunday, York City host 7th tier Pontland United, and 4th tier Newcastle United host 7th tier Gateshead Rutherford. South Shields will face Leeds United of Division 1 North, and Wakefield AFC will host Hull City, also of Division 1 North. Of course, at this stage, the FA Cup is regionalised. So as you'll see as we go through that we almost kind of snake our way down the country. This is just in the order it was on the FA website. We kind of snake our way down the country. So this is starting in the north. So Brighouse Sports against Merseyrail, 3-tier difference there. Brighouse Sports in the 7th tier. And Middlesbrough host Darlington of the 7th tier as well. Alnwick Town, who of course were in Division 1 North last year, they will host Chorley. Stockport County take on Outtoffs of the 6th tier. Curzon Ashton face Norton Stockton Ancients, and Blackburn Community take on Barnsley. Bradford City against Preston North End. Preston North End in the 6th tier. Mossley Hill of the 5th tier take on Durham Sestra. Lincoln United are at home to Northampton Town. We're down into the Midlands now. Lincoln City of Division 1 Midlands take on Sheffield, an all Tier 4 tie in that one. Long Eaton United against Leafield Athletic, another all 4th tier tie. Wem Town will host Chesterfield of the 5th tier. Doncaster Rovers Bells take on Leicester City of the 6th tier, and Peterborough United take on Mansfield Town of Tier 5. Solihull Moors against Arnold Eagles of Tier 5, another all 4th tier tie, Sporting Cowser against Leek Town. Move down towards the south. London Seaward will host St Ives Town of the 6th tier, and Colney Heath of Tier 5 will take on Cambridge City of Tier 4. Bedford of Tier 5 will host #United. Abingdon United take on Southampton Women's. Cheshire United face Penn and Tyler's Green of the 6th tier. Queen's Park Rangers against AFC Wimbledon, another all 4th tier tie. Hounslow against Clapton Community of the 6th tier. Clapton Community, you will remember, we spoke to Sophie Axelton last year before she then moved to Wimbledon. They were in the 7th tier, had to fund their trip all the way over to Plymouth last season. They got promoted that year. They're now 6th tier and will face Hounslow. So they will be, with the greatest respect to Hounslow, confident about their chances in that one, particularly with the giant killings they did last year. Moneyfields take on Hastings United of the 6th tier. Actonians against Ashford Town is an all 4th tier tie. And Sticker of the 6th tier will host Portishead Town. Final screen for this one then. Frampton Rangers of the 6th tier take on AFC St Austell. Keynsham Town against Larkhall Athletic, an all 4th tier tie. Downend Flyers of Tier 6 take on Cardiff City Ladies. AFC Bournemouth against Forest Green Rovers in the 5th tier. Saltash United of the 6th tier take on Exeter City. Fulham of Tier 5 face Maidenhead United. Norwich City and Cambridge United are an all 4th tier side. And Dorking Wanderers of the 6th tier take on Chelsea of Tier 4. As I said, plenty of other fixtures as well, so we'll see plenty of new teams on these graphics once the draw for the 4th qualifying round is made. But those are all the ties for the 3rd qualifying round that involve the 47 4th tier sides. The team whose name escapes me right at this moment that were scheduled to play Wyndham Town have of course been given a bye into the next round. But that'll do it for this week's Women's Football Chat. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. And again, apologies that because it was so early in the morning, I wasn't quite with it in some of those words, and I'm still not now. So yes, thank you very much for watching and or listening if you've been doing it on the audio streaming services. As always, if you want to get involved with the show, you can leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, or get in touch with me at Twitter at Chris_Gadsby. As always, keep supporting your local women's football team. Thank you very much for watching and or listening, and goodbye.